So INART have put their James Gunn Superman up for pre-order. That's exactly what we're going to talk about. Let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome to 16 Figure Focused, and in this video we're going to take a look at the newly announced, now up for pre-order and sold out from the INART site, I believe. Maybe I got that wrong, but I'll definitely take a look at that. We're looking at the INART 1/6 scale Superman from the forthcoming, due to be released in cinemas or theaters, depending on where you are in the world, July 11th. So this is the first movie in the James Gunn DC universe. I've heard he's keeping characters like Peacemaker, and I think there's a few others, I'm not entirely sure. But this is the first movie with, first DC movie, first Superman movie with James Gunn at the helm. Now, before we take a look at any of these images already, I suppose if you're a 1/6 scale collector, you already know that earlier on in the week, Hot Toys put up for pre-order their version of this exact same Superman, exact same David Cornsweet 2025 James Gunn DCU Superman, whatever you want to call it. So now they've literally gone, we've got like for like a 6 scale Hot Toys Superman from the James Gunn 2025 Superman from Hot Toys, and then one from INART. Okay, I'm not excited about this movie. I'm just not. It's no shade towards James Gunn or David Cornsweet. It's just, I'm not excited about it based on the trailers. What I've seen so far, I'm not excited about it. I am going to go see it. I don't think it's going to be good. Okay, but I haven't seen a movie. I'm not expecting, my expectations are very, very low on this based on what I've seen so far in the trailers. Okay, I've explained my thoughts on James Gunn and how sometimes, yeah, he has a habit of touching things and then turning to gold, which are fantastic, like, you know, whether it's Peacemaker or the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy or the second Suicide Squad, grand, and you know, if I'm not going to go in deep about that, but look, he does strike gold from time to time, but from what I've seen in the trailers, it's not working for me. It's not getting me hyped. I'm going to go see it with an open mind, and yeah, I'll let you know what I think about it after. So I'm not hyped for the movie, and I don't care for this particular suit. It might be growing on me a small bit, but yeah, overall, like I'm not really gravitating towards this suit. It's a bit more of a classic look at the Superman. I don't like the trunks. Okay, sue me. I don't care if you don't agree with that. I think it looks silly. I always have. I always will. No matter how many comments I get in the video, and if you disagree with me, that is perfectly fine. But any sort of disrespect will not be tolerated. You'll just be blocked and I'll delete your comment and get rid of you. But you're not going to change my mind on this. I think it looks silly. I get that it's a classic version of the Superman outfit from the comics. I totally get that. Comic book heads are going to go nuts for this. But for me, I never liked it and I don't like it. But look, let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at this. I do think INART have the edge. I think INART make better 1/6 scale figures. The 1/6 scale figures I have from INART so far is the Heath Ledger the Heath Ledger Joker 2-pack, the rooted hair version, the one that we talked about for 2 years. And it's excellent. I love it. Okay, I have no interest in the J&D. I think anyone thinking about getting the J&D, forget about it. Save your money. Go for the INART one, or go for the Hot Toys one, or go for a custom. You'll still save money, and I think you'll get a better figure because I don't think J&D did the face likeness much. Apologies for quick interruption to this video. If you're watching this video right now, hit the like button, and more importantly, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me grow the channel, and the support is greatly appreciated. Back to the video. Yeah, I've got the INART Heath Ledger rooted 2-pack. Fantastic stuff, and a lot of people regard that their weakest figure. Then I've also got the 4-pack, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker 2019 4-pack, incredible. The Robert Pattinson The Batman rooted single pack, again incredible, and my Superman, the Henry Cavill Batman vs Superman. Now look, when I watch, I'm a fan of Man of Steel, 3-star movie. Okay, I don't think it's any more than 3 stars in my opinion, but every time I put it on, I do enjoy it. I just think that it has too many faults to be considered a 4 or 5. But Henry Cavill was born to play Superman. He looked the part. I love the way he played the role of Clark Kent and Superman. I also really, really like the suit. And yes, it doesn't have the underpants because I can take it a bit more seriously then. Love it. So when I look up at that, that scratches the itch. I don't need any more Supermans in the collection. Okay, maybe in the future another movie gets released with a different Superman and it's incredible. Maybe it's this one, highly unlikely, and then I might consider changing, but that is a fantastic figure from the best on-screen Superman that I have seen so far. Here, just my point on that, INART make great figures. Okay, whether, like, I think if you're denying it now, I find it hard to take it seriously if you're saying that they make bad figures. Great figures, but the company themselves, I could do a whole nother video on that. They have a lot of work to do in terms of distribution, and they're very slow, and they're not great with customer service and stuff like that. From first-hand experience, they don't care. They really don't care. And like a lot of their stuff, which is available, say, only in certain markets, for example, all of the figures I've just mentioned, I didn't order directly because they weren't worldwide licensed. I went with, I think it was Lion Rock Toys for all of them. But the INART Paul, which is shipped finally, I ordered that day one. It only shipped about maybe a week and a half ago. And the emails I sent to customer service, they didn't care. They got me generic emails. Oh yeah, we're working on it. That's what we got back. So customer service, they have a lot of stuff. I could do a separate video on that. They make great products, but as a company, they have a lot of work to do. But I think if I was picking between the Hot Toys, let's say I watch this movie. Let's say I watch this movie and it blows me away. It's incredible. It's a 4 or 5 star movie. I think it's unlikely, but if, just let's hypothetically say this movie, let's say it's a masterpiece and I love it. And I want to get a version of Superman from this James Gunn Superman, I think I'm going to pick the INART one. From what I've seen, it is better. Let's just take a look at what I'm talking about. There's a lot of different things you can compare here. Okay, first thing I will say, okay, I'm going to start off with a negative. From looking at images of this guy, David Cornsweet, in the suit, on set, there is texture in the suit, there is lines on the suit, but there isn't supposed to be any texture or lines on the Superman, the S symbol, from what I've seen.
That's not entirely accurate.
Correction, I might have actually made a mistake here. After making the video, I did a little bit more research, and it actually depends on which image you look at. So depending on what image you're looking at from the trailer or from stills like principal photography, stills from the movie, or even just photos of the suit itself, determines if the texture on the S is present. For the most part, the texture seems to be on the blue part or the main body suit, but on the S depends on the still you get. For example, this particular still, I presume it's like a backstage image, you've seen it before. There doesn't seem to be any texture on the S symbol. However, in this one of the earlier promotional images when he's putting on his boots, which people lost their minds for, you can clearly see there's texture. You can definitely see it on my screen. You might have to zoom in or just Google the image yourself, but the texture is definitely present. So INART is not inaccurate on that one. Here again, with this one here, this kind of battle damage look, he's covered in, I don't know, mud or dust or whatever. You can clearly see the speckling. You can see it on the red part of the S, you can see it on the yellow part, but you can see it a bit more prominently on the yellow part. So there is actually, in fact, texture on the S, and sometimes there's not texture on the S, depending on what images you actually look at. I personally like the texture. Back to the video. And look, I'll pop up some of those photos. Should be photos popping up there of David Cornsweet in this suit from the set, and you should be able to make out the texture in the suit, which does seem accurate, at least from what I can tell, and the piping and line work, which I actually do quite like. But here there's texture on the S, but there's no texture on the S in the actual suit. It's supposed to be smoother. That's an easy fix. That's not a big deal. That is an easy fix. I think Hot Toys got that right. Now, from what I remember as well, the Hot Toys one is a lot beefier. So look, I'll flick through some of these photos and we'll take a look. Before we even have a look at that, just on the site, this is saying sold out. So I'm not sure if this is, has this not gone up for pre-order yet? I think it's supposed to go up on the, I think it's supposed to go up today. So maybe it's already gone up and it's sold out. Maybe it's gone up later on in the day. But I don't think this is a worldwide license, so it's not really going to affect a lot of people anyway. But it's $308, which is reasonable. The Hot Toys one's $285. And I think the INART one is going to be a better figure. That's very, very reasonable. Now, if you go to Kit, which I think a lot of people watching this video, especially if you're based in America, would probably go with Kit. And it's $380. So you're talking like another nearly $100 more expensive. I think kit do free worldwide shipping to anywhere in the world. I do believe. I don't really order them from that much. I have ordered them in the past. I've had good experience. We might want to check that out. But I think they do free worldwide shipping. $380. So what's that? $95 more expensive than the Hot Toys one. So taking a look at some of these photos, I think the sculpted hair is fantastic. Now, Hot Toys are great at sculpted hair. Their prototype for this same Superman had great sculpted hair. It actually looked rooted in some of the photos, so I think that's very good. But you expect good sculpted hair from Hot Toys. I think in general, Hot Toys have the edge when it comes to sculpted hair, but it's not even close when it comes to rooted hair. It's not INART. It's not just that they have the edge. They do it better. It's that simple. I think anyone who says the artisan hair is better than the rooted INART hair, I just think they're in denial because they've bought something, don't want to admit that there's something out there that's better. INART do better rooted hair. This does look great. I do like, it's a strange expression with the eyes closed. Now maybe there's a reason for this. Maybe there's something happens in the movie and maybe he can't save someone and he just like has that moment of like, you know, I failed him and he closes his eyes. Maybe it's a low point in the movie. You know, every movie has a low point, but yeah, interesting choice with the eyes closed. If it was the only sculpt we're getting, I'd be thinking, that's kind of stupid, because it would be stupid, but it's not. You get 2 sculpts, whereas the Hot Toys only has 1. Also, it's different having these closed eyes characters in your collection. It's very unusual. I'm looking over at the, I've got the 4-pack of the INART rooted 4-pack Joaquin Phoenix 2019 Jokers all there. And I've got, you know, him in his work clothes, essentially dressed as a clown, then the Arthur Fleck on the stairs, and then the bathroom dancing scene Joker when he shoots the Wall Street guys, and he has his eyes closed in that. And it's probably the strongest out of the 4 in that 4-pack, to be honest. It's very different, it's very unique, really works, and the likeness is incredible. So this here, likeness is good, nice touch. I think the sculpted hair looks fantastic, and I think the body proportions look better. I think they've got the body proportions better here than the Hot Toys one. What I mean by that is, I had the Justice League Superman, the Henry Cavill one. The quads were enormous, absolutely huge. Henry Cavill is a big guy, he's an absolute unit, but his quads weren't that big, so they completely oversized the quads, and I remember the biceps being a bit unnatural as well. Now the Hot Toys one, from what I remember, the quads they look quite good, but he is overly jacked around the chest and the shoulders and bicep arms area and the forearms area, and it makes for a great figure, but if you're going for accuracy, this INART one, I think actually they have the proportion. That's a great shot. Love that. I love the way INART sell the figures like this and promote the figures like this with these kind of they have the figure, but they actually make it look like it's still out of the movie with the lighting and the photography and whatever lenses they're using. I can definitely see the likeness there. I think I don't think I give it a 10 out of 10 or anything. It's not something that I'm like, again, I always dial back to the prototype images for Paul Atreides, the rooted one, fantastic. Looking forward to reviewing that whenever it gets here. Or the Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. That was, I think, the best 1/6 scale prototype head sculpt I've ever seen. This here is very strong. I think I'd give this, what did I give the Hot Toys one? I think I could see the likeness in the Hot Toys one. I don't see Shooter McGavin. I think that stemmed because in one of the smaller scale versions of this James Gunn Superman, one of the figures for the smaller, I don't know what it was, like a smaller figure. It looked like Shooter McGavin, allegedly. I haven't seen it. I've seen the memes, but I haven't seen the actual figure they're talking about, so I don't think the Hot Toys one looks like Shooter McGavin. I do think the likeness is quite well on that. I think this one has an edge. I still don't think this is a 10. If Hot Toys is an 8, this is like an 8.5, maybe a 9. I do think this is stronger. The biggest thing about INART, I think, is it looks like 1/6 scale people in front of you. They win the realism game hands down. From what I can see, like what I've seen in pictures of figures I don't have, but also the figures I have in hand, and even comparing the figures I have with their Hot Toys, like the INART figures I have with their Hot Toys counterparts, INART wins with the rooted hair. Okay, that won't be a factor because these are both sculpted, right? INART tends to win with the body proportions and tends to win with the cut and sew and the tailoring. Like, there's a lot more wins from what I can see anyway. So I think the likeness is there in both of them. Like, Hot Toys have done a good job in the figure as well. I think the actual color of the suit's a bit better on this. I really like the brightness of the Hot Toys one, the bright blue and the real kind of the bright red, but I also remember thinking, as visually stunning as it looks, my memory from the trailers or the stills from the movie is the blue wasn't that as quite as bright as the Hot Toys one had. So I think there's a few things in this which is standing out to me. Like, okay, this guy's a big guy. He's a big guy, right? I think they've got the edge with the lightness. Okay, I think INART have the edge with the lightness. I think this looks more like David Cornsweet than the Hot Toys one. Okay, and I don't think the Hot Toys one is bad, and I definitely don't think it looks like Shooter McGavin. I think the colouring is better on the INART one. I think the body proportions look more natural on the INART one, and I think it's actually looks more like a guy in a suit as opposed to a toy. The Hot Toys one looks cool, but it is overly jacked. It definitely is, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm not gone on this suit, because when I looked at Cavill was jacked, and then when they put him in the suit, I think it was a muscle suit as well, so kind of emphasized all that and, you know, helped him look even more bigger, because he's the Man of Steel. He's not human. He's supposed to be, you know, hulking in and out of the suit. Whereas this guy's a big guy, but I don't think the suit, it's kind of a bit too loose, so it doesn't emphasize his physique, and they've done nothing to make it look more physically imposing. And people might say like, oh, but yeah, he doesn't need that, you know. Well, he does. Maybe him as a person doesn't, but as Superman, you expect Superman to be muscular. You expect him to be jacked out of it. So I don't think the suit design, objectively speaking, I don't particularly care for. It is growing on me, but I don't particularly care for it overall at all. I prefer the Man of Steel or BVS or even the Justice League look, and I didn't like the Justice League or BVS movies too well. Like, if you look at it, you can see here the proportions that I'm talking about. We'll get a full length one. The dog's better. Hot Toys don't have a good track record with dogs, but I did say in my video that I think the Crypto, the Day-Date, is better than Einstein or the cat from Captain Marvel. And I think how they've done it, they've added more texture onto the dog. His hair is kind of, you know, like, there's little tufts of hair. The nature of the dog, it's not a smooth hair. So they've put a more texture in the Hot Toys one to make it look less like a piece of plastic, even though it is a piece of plastic. And I think here INART have gone a step further with the ruffling of the plastic to make it look like fur, and of course the different colors and the different the paint application. Also, the eyes are better in this as well. I do think the eyes are better. Yeah, I think they win with Crypto as well, man. I think they just do a better job with Crypto, and even the cape looks better. Okay, the bases. Look, a lot of people were losing their minds about the magnetic base and stuff like that for the Superman for Hot Toys, and the three things I said in my video was: A, will the magnets be strong enough? B, will the magnets, because the magnet on the Hot Toys one fits over the cape. I presume you could fit it under the cape as well, but if you're putting it over the cape, will it leave a mark? Will it damage the cape? Third one, then, if you want to put it underneath the cape and just directly attach it to the back, I'm guessing you can do that, but then it's going to limit your articulation, your posing, and what are you going to do? Like, if you rest the cape then on the stand, it's going to have this big hump. So I think it was kind of like, I'm very picky when it comes to bases, but I think in that case it was like elaborate base for the sake of elaborate base. I think they got a bit ahead of themselves there, to be honest. I like this better. It's simple, it's elegant, and it still has the Fortress of Solitude look. I prefer this. Also, one of the biggest issues I have with a lot of Hot Toys bases is, fine, you've given us an environmental base. Great. You've got essentially another big accessory that you can pose your figure on. Excellent. Super. You've added some environmental piece. Brilliant. This is great, but you haven't given us enough space for the character to pose properly on. And I'm picky with bases. I tend not to use the bases anyway for a cleaner look. However, every now and then the Bespin Luke base with the light up function comes along. Love that. The Final Swing suit from Spider-Man No Way Home, that red and blue suit that he makes himself with the rooftop base, fantastic. Environmental, you got the ladder on it, looks super. That's a bit of a tricky one to get a pose on. You kind of have to do a Captain Morgan on a lot of these. It works, but it'd be better if there's a bit more display space. What other bases do I particularly like? The Death Star Environmental, obviously. Take the Iron Man one up there, the Ironmonger one. It's great and all that, but you kind of do have to do, I have him there with the right knee bent, standing up on the flat spot of that Ironmonger base that comes with that Iron Man Mark III 2.0, and he's got, of course, the rocket out on his right arm, and it's all lit up, and it's kind of like the Gamera scene or whatever, or kind of a mash between Gamera and what happens at the end of the movie. But the thing is, you kind of have to do it like that because there's so little standing space. Whereas, now I don't know if this is magnetic, and I do like the magnetic bases. I don't think Hot Toys should, or INART should abandon that. I think they should work on it and perfect it. Forget about the track system. Forget about putting magnets on just one little part. Have the whole thing magnetized. Do it properly. I heard Caustic Plastic do an excellent job of that. So I really like this. I don't know if it's magnetic. I might have to take a look at what they say about it in a minute. I'm going to come back to that. But yeah, I like this. It's simple. It's elegant. Hopefully it is magnetic. I will double check. And I presume you're going to move one of the little piece here in the middle. I presume you removed that to stick in the flight pole, and the flight pole attaches in similar to the INART BVS Superman, which I have downstairs, and it's such a good figure. I can't like, even subjectively and objectively, it's just a great figure. Okay, so this is what it comes with. You get the normal figure with the normal sculpt with his eyes open, and it has the separate rolling eyeballs function, and it's sculpted hair, very good sculpted hair actually. I would not want rooted with this, it's too short. You've got the separate sculpt, the kind of eyes closed. Now I'm guessing there's a part of the movie where, I don't know, maybe he's failed, or someone has died, he couldn't save them, or he's sad or whatever. Or then again, it could be just a red herring, and they just wanted to include a separate sculpt and took a bit of liberties. But I would imagine something happens in the movie and he does that. Kind of like that's what they did with the Joker. He was dancing with his eyes closed. You've got two different capes. He's a dynamic cape on and a drape cape here. And again, that's what they did with the BVS, and I liked both of those capes. Okay, to be fair now, it came, I think, with the drape cape, and I immediately swapped it out for the dynamic cape, and I'm normally a drape cape type of person, but I put a good bit of time into posing the dynamic cape, and I haven't touched it since. I absolutely love it. There should be an image popping up there of my INART BVS Henry Cavill Superman with the dynamic cape, or wired cape. Dynamic wired cape, I should say. Wired cape is probably a bit more accurate. But it's there, and I love it. So I like the way the inclusion of two capes. Hot Toys only give you one. And then you have Crypto, which, like I said already in the video, I do think it's a superior Crypto. I think the idea of a flying dog with a cape is ridiculous. I'm really struggling with that one, but the comic book fans love it. I get it. Again, the same way people are not going to change my mind on the Superman's red underpants here. I get that it's from the comics. I get it's a classic look. I just don't care for it. I don't like it. And no amount of comments, whether they're respectful comments or troll comments, are going to make me change my mind. You're wasting your time. And that's the same feelings as Crypto. The dogs are really, I love dogs. The dog is so cute. The dog might end up being my favorite part of the movie, but it won't necessarily mean that it's a good movie. I want to be wrong. I want to like the movie, but it's the trailers, man. They haven't done nothing for me. I like the music. I really like the character play, or the actress Rachel Brosnahan from if you haven't watched Marvelous Miss Maisel, get on it. I think it's a great Lois Lane selection. What else? I like the scene where he saves the kid, but yeah, there's more I don't like than I do like in that trailer. There's my dog. You probably can't hear him, but he's barking. He's going mad now. He's objecting to the fact that I've said that I think the dog is cute. He's got that jealous. What a jealous boy. So then this is a funny inclusion. The boots are. This is going to remind me of Jay Brother Cousins, because he hates when they do in the accessory section for Hot Toys, they put boots in when they're not an accessory. Now sometimes it can be an accessory if they're like magnetic boots, like the Range Trooper, because they have a function. In this case, they're actually an accessory too, because they're pre-posed in a flight pose. If you're posing a Superman in a levitating pose, for example, it makes sense that his toes are pointing downwards. So now, of course, you could just do that anyway with ankle articulation, but these ones have them pre-posed like that, also for a flight pose as well if you're going to do that. It comes with swap-out hands, it comes with the clear acrylic pole, and it comes with I hope that's a magnetic base. I might check that now before I have a look at the rest of these images and give you my final thoughts on this, but you can probably see where this video is going. Right, so let's just X out of this for a second and see. Product information. Product size and dimensions. Information. It just says one base. Okay, I'm going to skim through this. Cam expression. Drape cape 2. I'm really looking here. Come on. A base. It says a base inspired by the Fortress of Solitude. I like that. It's just inspired by, it doesn't necessarily have to have. I think the other one, the Hot Toys one, like, I just think it looks like a big chunk of plastic. And I like that they're doing the magnetic, but I'm skeptical of it. And I don't like the way it kind of worms its way into his back. I think that looks a bit stupid, to be honest. I know you're never going to see it anyway, but yeah, it just says a base inspired by the Fortress of Solitude. It doesn't say anything about magnets. I hope it is magnetic. It just says one base. Now, unless the word magnetic is there and I'm missing it, but yeah, like I hope they don't abandon the magnetic base, because I just think it looks a lot classy when you have your character standing there and there's no flight pole. Like that Superman that I showed you earlier on the video that I have posed. It's just better. I had it a few times actually. Just looking around here, the 4-pack Joker at the moment. So everything must go. You know, Joker when he has the sign, everything must go. He's dressed as a clown. That is no stand. Looks incredible. The same as the Joker with the eyes closed. No crotch grabber, little stand that looks incredible. So it just connects onto the base. Same as the INART Joker up there, the purple coat version. Yeah. So I just prefer that look. They just need to perfect it. Right. One final skim through these. Head sculpt looks good. What would I give it? Okay, it's not a 10. I can't. It's very. Sometimes it's easy to point out. Okay, the eye color is wrong, or the eyes are too far apart, or the nose is off, or jawline. I think maybe it's slightly wide or something like that. There's something about it that I can't put my finger on. But it is a strong head sculpt. I do think it looks more like the Hot Toys one. I think the Hot Toys one was strong. I think maybe INART have a point on Hot Toys here. If Hot Toys is an 8. This is a 9. This is a pretty damn good head sculpt. Separate rolling eyeballs function. So they're winning the head sculpt and the likeness for me. Although he looks weird there. Maybe it's the jawlines are too pronounced. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm dropping this down a bit. Might be an 8.5. It doesn't look particularly great there. Now, the proportions here. That's his proportions. He's got pretty big arms, but then he kind of... The body is very square looking as it leads down from underneath his armpits into the pants, the underpants. There's a slight taper going on, but I think that's pretty damn accurate. Whereas the Hot Toys one is absolutely yoked out of it, you know. So they're winning the head sculpt, Hot Toys. They're winning the proportions, definitely. They're winning the colors as well. The only thing that I can see, I saw something online about the stitching. I think the INART stitching is it more accurate or cleaner on the bit underneath the yellow belt, the top of the red underpants. I don't know for sure on that. Well, I saw some comparison pictures, and it did look a bit tidier, just the design in it. Yeah, I'm giving INART the W on the head sculpt likeness, the proportions, the color of the blue. I think that's more accurate. Now, 2 little things, maybe 3. Hot Toys might have the edge on the sculpted hair. I'm not entirely sure on that. Remember the sculpted hair being pretty damn incredible. I think they might have the edge. In fairness, Hot Toys do, calling a spade, Hot Toys do better sculpted hair. But this is tight now. This is tight. That could go either way. Hot Toys do need to fix the S. It shouldn't be textured. It should be smooth. Oh, and it was actually, I think it was Dean the Dream in the Collecting Weekly group chat spotted that the sleeves on this guy are a bit too long. They come above the wrists. They're a little bit too long. I don't think they shouldn't be as long as that. So there are 2 little things where Hot Toys would have the edge in INART. But overall, the main things: likeness, body proportion, the color of the suit, that stitching underneath the yellow belt, the inclusion of the pre-posed, I presume they're sculpted, pointed toe flight boots. I prefer the base on this, whether it's magnetic or not, but I really hope it's magnetic. And the price, okay, Hot Toys wins in the price, but you're getting a better figure here I think you're getting a classier looking figure here. Oh, Crypto. They win on Crypto. It's not even close. The Crypto here looks so much better. Let me see. Some of the shots on the likeness though, I couldn't give this a 10. I think I might be reluctant to give it a 9. I think if Hot Toys is 7.5 or an 8, this is maybe an 8.5. Maybe I'm being harsh on that. It's not a 10 anyway. It's a very strong head sculpt though. I think it's maybe the shadowing here. See the way you can only see part of his face because of all the shadow on the right side of his face? Nice little pose work. See, this is what I'm talking about. It looks very elegant. It has to be magnetic. It has to be. Surely to God that's magnetic. So you have the base here. There's no crotch grabber. There's no crotch grabber included, so that would suggest it's magnetic. It's a very simple pose. He's just standing there, closed fists. You can really see those sleeves coming over the fists. So, and a slight bit of just a very slight bit of a turn on the wired or dynamic cape there. I have to say that the BVS Cavill doesn't have the S logo on the cape, and that's a kind of again nod to the kind of classic look. And I on the BVS I do prefer that. I gotta say this has grown on me though with the yellow bit. The suit definitely has grown on me a little bit. I will say that. And I'm wondering though, is that just these images from INART and just the quality of the proportions and all that? I think that looks class. Yeah, I know you'll have a lot of people saying, why does he need to close his eyes? I don't know, I presume he blinks, you know, it's not as if it's the only sculpt either. Look, you can really see the natural proportions here. He's a big guy, and the suit does, I think they've captured that look. Again, going back to the Henry Cavill example, both of these guys are big guys, they're jacked. But the suit that Henry Cavill was in, that bodysuit, it kind of emphasized, say, like it added a bit more definition to all his muscles and his tone and all that kind of stuff. This doesn't do it as much, but I think that's the look they're going for. It's slightly looser, but you can see his body in the suit here. I think that's quite good, but it's very obvious here that there's texture on the S when there shouldn't be. That should be smooth. No, just a reminder folks, a lot of the images from the trailer and stills have the texture on the S. That was a mistake earlier on I made. Some of the images it's smooth, but some of the images, the texture is clearly visible. Yeah, at the end of all of that, I still have low expectations for this movie. I'm not sold on this suit, but if I was to get one, if I end up loving the movie and the suit grows on me, it'd be INART every day of the week. Based on past experiences with the figures. That's it. That's my, if you know, by the way, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the video. If you want to support the channel, please like the video. We are so close to 5,000 subscribers. We're at like 4,911 or something like that. So please, if you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. What I would really like, and look, if you want to express that you as a comic book fan love the red underwear or the inclusion of Crypto, that is fine. But I'm not going to tolerate any bullshit, lads. I'll just delete and block you if you want to be, if you want to get smart about it. It's just an opinion. It shouldn't offend you. If it does offend you, I recommend a good therapist. So with this here, let me know if you find out if it's magnetic or not. I want to know if that base is magnetic. If you're still watching the video and you know that base is magnetic or it's not magnetic, let me know. That's what I'm curious to find out. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.